Hi.
Hello, hello, hello.
This is Cedric again. I never sent you the video, but I'm here on audio. So, yeah, I'm actually in the kitchen now making some lasagna.
Ah.
That's why I wanted to have my video, but oh well, so much for that. Because, yeah, I remember Rob being a lasagna man, but just a couple stories, before that, we started a lot of that cooking in my grandmother's kitchen because he would spend as much time over my house as he did his. And we would just go to the store, and you're right.
Wait a minute. Did I unmute the? Hello, Cedric.
Still there?
Cedric.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you. Which one are you, Cedric? Because are you the one that says iPhone?
Probably so, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm making lasagna, and it is memory because like I can cook, and I'll let anybody know I can cook. But Rob right there with me, he impressed me with some things, and like I said, I can burn it here. So I respect him, and been knowing the guy since high school, so we were really, 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 really close. I missed him when he left California. I used to always tease him like, man, you're a postman. Why would you leave Southern California to go back east? You a mailman. What you doing? And he just laughed. He said, I tell you, you got to do what you got to do, bro. So that was my Rob. So I'm going to be quiet and keep cooking. And I'm just here, for anybody who wants to talk about anything. I'm just here for you guys.
Oh, thank you, thank you. He had nothing, he had nothing but good things to say about you, but he really, like, cherished the times that y'all spent together. He would talk about it all the time.
Well, can you help my mom get on?
Cedric. Go ahead with somebody speaking.
Yeah, we experienced a lot of stuff, like in the high school
Help Granny
days,
get on, please. Call her
beginning college days.
On the other phone.
We went through a lot of things together, and
323.
I understood Rob. I respected him, and as long as we had that for each other, like it would be times that we wouldn't talk, or he'd get mad and jump in his truck and run home, or I'd get mad and jump in mine and run home, and the next day he'd call me up, hey, Biscuit, what you doing? Because he used to call me Biscuit. I'm like, how dare you call me? Like, come on, man. I'm coming over. We're going to play some video games. And then we go back again.
Does anybody else have a name that Robert might have called them, a nickname or a funny name or a way to, like, y'all would greet each other?
Y'all know about Bubbles? Y'all ever heard of Bubbles?
I never heard of Bubbles.
What's up with Bubbles?
Okay. Hey, you know how you were talking about the fight parties that Rob used to have?
Right.
Okay. So some guy came to the door and knocked on the door and asked to speak to Bubbles. So he was like, don't have Bubbles near here. So after then, we were telling him that was his undercover name. He got mad because he came and he had company. So then online, we called him Bubbles.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That was our brother.
Right.
That reminds me of something, of how you could have a conversation with Robert, and there was so many inside jokes that you could have a whole conversation and nobody around you would even know what you're talking about.
Yes, indeed.
That is very true.
Hello, everyone. I'm April. I'm Robert's cousin.
Where are you, April? Wait. Oh, here you are. Are you guys? Excuse me for a second. I'm gonna pin each person that speaks. I think, or. Well, if you have it on speaker, whoever's talking. Okay. Oh, okay. My daughter's telling me whoever's talking, it will show. Are they showing? Are the faces showing of each person who's speaking?
I can see him.
Okay, so it's on me now.
Yep, I can see because I have it at a grid view.
Okay. So can everyone see April?
Yeah.
Hi, April.
Galaxy S10.
I'm sorry. That's the little one. I know a nickname my dad used to call cousin Robert was Balloon, Little Balloon. Can't remember why he called him that, but every time he would call, he's like, I'm gonna call Little Balloon. I'm like, who is that? He's like, you know. I'm like, no, I don't. He's like, Robert, and I said, oh. Like, why do you call him that? And he told me, but I forgot why I called him that, but that was one of the names I remember. Little Balloon.
Well, I had one of those private joke nicknames for him because everybody knows he hated to be called Bob. He did not like the name Bob. So, and you also know Rob loved the Joan. Like, he just just Joan. Like, Joan was part of your conversation.
Why is his?
And so I used to call him when I wanted to make him mad. I would call him Bobber, and he would get so mad at me. And it was one of those things, sisters and brothers, and you always know exactly what to do to get to the other one. You know what I mean? Like, just that way. And to anybody else who were here, they would not think anything of it. It would be like, I mean, what's the big deal? Why is she so mad? Why is he so mad? But we definitely had a lot of those just little things we would just, and as you get older, they become like the code word for fun. So while it made him mad when he was younger, when you say it once you are older, you just start laughing, like just remembering that whole time. And I'll flip it and say that the thing he used to say to me was he would call me knuckle feet because I have corns on my toes. And so, I know it might sound crazy, but it like that was Rob. There was nothing that was off limits. There was no place. There was sacred. You know what I mean? And you had to love him for that. Like you either loved him or you hated him. It was that simple. So I just thought about that.
Tia, could you is it possible that you can? I'm going to show the memorial that you put up for Rob. I'm going to put it on the screen. Could you tell us about it? It's beautiful.
Oh, okay, sure.
Can everybody see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on, I want to come out of full view here. Hold on, let me spotlight it for myself. So I'm going to just come over here. And just to say that basically, I went through and I tried to put together something that just represented all sides of Robin. There were still so many things that that I didn't have access to, but these pictures here, the three ones are from his recent and then I have I do so much work.
We can't hear you, Tia.
I'm gonna have to stay at my computer then.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
So there are the three large photos, and then below that, I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's just a line of trinkets. He loved collecting little trinkets from from all of his travels. And then he kept a photo of his mom. He always had a photo of his mother on his dresser. So I included that. Oh, my daughter's going to show you. Bring it up closer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. He always had that photo. Always. And then he loved anybody. Loved playing cards. He was a gambler at one point in his life, and he would spend some money on some poker. But once he really, started traveling and realizing that that's where he wanted to put his money, he stopped the gambling, but he loved to collect cards from wherever he traveled also. And then, as we know, he was both an avid reader and just supporter of all things African American and very much into African American history. So these were actually books of his from that he had held on to, and huge, and that's money from it. He would always save a little bit of money from his travels, like the different countries he had gone to. So that's actually, the money that he had saved from the different places he had visited. And then huge Lakers fan. We all know this. Huge. So jerseys. And this is something I didn't know or didn't remember, but somewhere along the line, Rob was an artist. Because those two pictures, he did. He made those. And those were among some of his things. So I forgot about that. I don't know if anybody else remembers or anybody else can fill in on that. Um, but that's his actual work there. And then the license plates represent, Rob loved him a nice car. And he wasn't going to have no car that he did not soup up immediately. So speakers, booming out the back, the low riders, tents, and then big baseball, a hat fan too. I guess especially because he was bald, he kept his head bald. So plenty of hats. And then this other picture here, and I hope people can identify who's in that picture, but that's another picture he always had. Every place he was, he always had that picture up.
That's Elmer.
Who is it?
Okay, starting from the far left.
Who's speaking?
John.
Okay, John Kersey. Okay.
John Kersey, yeah. That's me with the yellow shirt on the right side of the gold shirt.
Okay.
That's Elmer Robinson bending over his back, and Emmanuel Signature, E-Man to the last guy with the sunglasses on.
Where were y'all?
We was at a cabaret that night, I think we were. But that was one of them ones that part of the Jeff Bell's collection. The Robin them used to do. He was with Jeff Bell's production. They used to hold parties on Friday, Saturday nights. And we took that.
That's one of his favorite pictures. Yeah. He always has that.
Yes, indeed.
So those are all the pieces for the memorial. It's, everything. Rob was a very it wasn't just well traveled. He was just a knowledgeable man. Like, there was you could talk to Rob about anything, and he knew a little something, and if he didn't, he would find out. He knew a little something about everything, and but his history, he knew that. He knew his history.
That's beautiful, Tia. I mean, absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for putting that together. I know my mom can't get on right now, but she said that she can see you, and she hears it, and she's sending everyone much love. And I mean, that is just absolutely beautiful. All of those mementos, and I know Dora appreciates it too. I know my dad would appreciate it. I'm trying to get him to call in. But that's absolutely beautiful. Is it possible for everyone to just go around and say their name, and I'll pin them on the screen so we know who's here and how they know Rob? Did you hear me, Tia?
I did. You want me to? I'll start. My name is Tia Broadway.
Oh, let me pin you first. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, my name is Tia Broadway. I met Rob when he actually Isha was my friend first.
Thank you.
Yes. But I met all of them because they used to come spend the summers with their Aunt Ruth, and their Aunt Ruth lived 2 doors down from my grandmother. Um, and so every summer we just would hang out and race popsicle sticks and play jacks and jump rope. And it was, Brian would come. Um, Robert and I remained friends. He went back every year. And when he went home, we didn't really keep in touch like that. But when he moved back to DC, we really became real tight. I was still in high school. He was a little older than me. So he, went through all my ridiculousness with boyfriends and all the high school drama. He was like, the big brother that every girl wants. And we just remained friends forever. And as I had my first, he was there when I met my kid's dad, and he was the first person other than my mom at the hospital, and my mom and their dad when I had my first child. He was the first person to pick him up. He bought his diapers for the first year of his life. Like every payday, like clockwork, I had 2 cases of diapers at the house. He's the first person Perry went to stay with, and he would cut the heat up real high because my son didn't like to wear clothes. So he would have to cut the heat up real high in his house because he was scared he would get sick. And then we just have remained friends. Like it went from a friendship to a true sister and brother. That when I say Rob is my brother, he really is like my brother. Like there's nothing he doesn't know. There was nothing that was, off anything, off limits. So that's how we met.
Wow, that is so sweet and wonderful. Doe, you want to say something? Dora? Adora, are you there? Okay, Doe. We're going to pin you. Tell us what you're eating. Doreen. So Adora is out of Adora and I. Dora, I'll put it on her in a minute. I mean, I'll put it on myself in a minute, but I just wanted to say that Dora and Rob were a lot closer. Where are you going, Doe? I'll wait. Oh, she's getting the mustard. Can you hear, Doe? Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. Are you on mute?
He's on mute.
He's on mute.
Okay. Can you unmute? How do I unmute her? Oh, ask to unmute. Sorry. Doe?
Hi.
Okay. So, I just was going to share with everyone. Thanks a lot, Dora. Can you tell?
We're supposed to be eating Rob's favorites. He likes chili cheese dogs, so I'm making chili cheese dogs.
Oh.
With onions and cheese.
I was just about to say, does it have cheese? Because it had to have cheese. So when we were little, we all grew up kind of like in the same house at different times. So, and by the way, my name's Aisha. This is my husband, Louis. And this is Alicia. And Rob is my mom's sister's son. So Aunt Faith is the 7th out of 12. And my mother is 11th out of 12 children. So they were 7-11. And so when Aunt Faith came out to live in Los Angeles, at different points in our lives, we all lived together. And so that meant that we had to live with Rob, and Rob had to live with us. And Dora and Rob always got along so much better because I was a little bit, let's see, how can I say this?
The mama, serious,
right.
didn't like to play, in charge.
Oh,
Me and Rob used to watch cartoons and eat cereal and giggle, and Ish would sit and be annoyed.
So Rob and Dora used to watch cartoons every morning and eat cereal. And I don't know why that irritated me so much. But I was so irritated. And then Rob he loved some kind of chocolate cereal. And my mother wouldn't allow us to eat it.
Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, Cocoa Puffs. And I would be so irritated. They'd be sitting in front of the TV with their cereal between their legs and just cracking up. And I'm like, what is so funny? But, Dora was his little fave, but Rob was my heart. As we got older, nothing ever stopped him. And I'm going to start crying because it's so easy for me to cry thinking about it. But nothing ever stopped Rob from being there for us. He was at every, graduation. I don't, when I think of the memories, it's like, I think, gosh, he was like 20 or 30 years old, but he found the money to buy a plane ticket, to California, to Cambridge. And, he was always there for everything. And he was so loving. And, he always played a lot. I would say he plays too much, like, stop, Rob, you play too much. So that was my thing with Rob. And he was always telling jokes. And I remember one year when we lived on 6th Avenue, he lived with us. We lived with them, and they lived with us sometimes. Aunt Faith, Uncle Clay, and Rob. And on 6th Avenue, I remember it was like 4th of July. And Rob I think we were doing fireworks or something, though. And he was doing the fireworks, and everybody was telling him, no, you're not supposed to do that. It's dangerous. And I think one of our trees almost caught on fire. So he got some water and he started, spraying people down with water. And our neighbor was so irritated because, Rob, like Tia said, there was like no filter, and he was just going to do what he wanted to do. So he wet her up. And I mean, I never saw Lula run that fast down the street. Her wig got all wet and everything. And everybody was laughing, and she was so mad. And I don't think I ever heard like a grown-up curse at a kid, but she was cursing at him. And it was just so funny because he was always doing something overboard. And my mother said that too. Oh, and one more thing. Well, it might be a couple of more things, but this other one. So one year and I tell this to my students because I'm a teacher. And so one year we lived on Central and Adams, and that's the hood. So Rob had his little area and we had our area, and we used to cook on the, like on the porch. It was outside. It was an electric, like skillet. And so, wait, no. I take that back. That's not the story. Wait. This story is on 6th Avenue. So one day we were in the kitchen and Rob was cooking some cornbread. Now, I recently found out that Rob enjoys pineapple cornbread. So we got to hear the story from Tia, because I saw when I looked at his Facebook page, it was like pineapple cornbread everywhere. And I'm like, where did he get that? I know that he also likes sandwiches with raisin bread. And so do Dora and I. Right, Doe?
Girl, don't laugh.
Huh?
Yes.
Okay. And my mom did that because I was like, how is it that we like a tuna fish sandwich on raisin bread, or a salami sandwich and tomatoes on raisin bread with mayo? Love it. It's so good. And so I couldn't believe it when I was looking at his posts that he was actually making sandwiches with raisin bread. Anyway, I digress. So back to the story on 6th Avenue. Anyway, he was making some cornbread. And my mother was so excited. We were all excited, like, oh, we're going to have this cornbread. And Rob was stirring the cornbread. Rob was always a chubby chubby guy. So his chin was down and his lip was kind of hanging a little bit, and he was getting into it and just stirring and stirring. And I was watching him. We were all excited. We wanted this cornbread, and I saw a drool of spit go in the cornbread. And I said, ugh, mama, ma. And I was yelling, and I said, ugh, Rob. And Rob started cracking up laughing. If you know Rob, he has a very hearty laugh. And he just started cracking up laughing, and a little bit more got in there, and he kept stirring it. And I told my mother, I said, no, throw that away, Mom. Rob just spit in the cornbread. And she was like, he did what? And so he was like, he was still laughing. He was still stirring it. And I said, he just drooled in the cornbread. And so I said, we got to throw it away. And my mother said, girl, we ain't going to throw that cornbread away. And she made him keep stirring and put it in the oven. And he cracked up the whole time. I was so disgusted. I was so mad. And did we eat the cornbread? We sure did. And was it delicious? Yes. It was slathered on butter and everything else. And Rob cracked up. He continued to crack up. So that's one of my fun stories about my love. I love my Robert. He, there was nothing that I would not do for him. I have more stories, but I'll let somebody else share.
Yes, please, somebody.
Hi, I'm Winfred. I'm Robert's cousin.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi, Winfred.
how's everybody?
Good.
So I remember a lot of different things about Robert.